Hello and welcome to another episode of Mindfulness Mondays, a bonus podcast series within the I Will Hold Space for Your Darkness podcast. I'm your host, Erin Jane. And as you may be able to see if you are watching or hear if you are listening, I am joining you from my childhood backyard here in Australia. And there are a couple of crows up in the tree behind me that are having a lovely conversation. So I was going to warn you, you may hear some of my darling Aussie birds in the background during this quick episode, but I hope it's pleasant and not too distracting. So I just wanted to jump on today, and first of all, I guess maybe say that I appreciate the audience's grace and patience with me not having put an episode out for a few weeks. Life gets busy sometimes, and in the lead up to traveling to Australia, that was sort of my realm. And then landing here, settling in, all that kind of stuff, it takes it out of you, especially because I travel one up with my little boys. So it was 26 hours of travel all up, not including trips to and from the airport and all that kind of stuff. So my boys have been absolute superstars, and I'm very proud of them. And yeah, but so it is actually Monday here in Australia. As I'm filming this, it's still technically Sunday night in America. So hopefully I will get my butt into gear and get this out for you guys. I was having a think, right, and I guess it's part of the reason why I sort of actively chose not to put an episode out. And you, as you know, anyone who might follow me on the socials, I've been a little quiet probably over the last week or so, and that's intentional. It's intentional because I chose to take a step back from, anything and everything realistically that wasn't involving my family. And that made me think about the concept for this Mindfulness Mondays episode. And, me being me and my usual potty mouth nature, as my husband normally calls it, I was sort of going to refer to it as like, fuck it, February. But, not everyone is as delighted in swearing as I am, and I understand that. So, maybe additionally, sort of a bit of like a focus on February is my other additional sort of, I guess, title for this episode. And it kind of boiled down to me having a think about what's important in my life or what takes precedence. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in everything that goes on in our world, especially as first responders. Even family life is busy because you've got shift work, you've got trauma exposure, you've got all of the things that go along with existing in this realm, on top of being parents, being a husband or a wife or a partner to someone. There's a lot to manage. And I guess I'm fortunate in the sense that obviously I work for myself in terms of like my coaching and even, this podcast. It's a choice of whether I put content out or not. And that's not to say that I don't greatly, appreciate the conversations that I get to have, but it has to be on my terms and on my schedule, because otherwise I'm, and I've mentioned it many times before, otherwise I'm not having enough in my own cup to then give back to my family and friends and all that kind of thing. So I guess it kind of made me come to that realization that, instead of being plagued by guilt that I think sometimes we often are when we're getting pulled in many different directions. Like my trips home to Australia each year are so beautiful and wonderful, but a lot of the times they are plagued by guilt, and I'm racked with apprehension and anxiety because there's never enough time. Like there's never enough time when you live far away from a lot of the people that you love. So it never feels like you have enough time to spend adequate time with them. But Additionally, when you have other factors involved of, other commitments and work and all that kind of thing, like, you feel pulled in many different directions, and I often suffer from that, especially around coming home, because I miss all the people here so much, and obviously, I have the opportunity with today's technology to keep in incredible contact with them, but nothing replaces that you know that sitting on a couch together, having a glass of wine and talking a bit of shit, and those beautiful cuddles, like the one that I got with my sister yesterday, and just lasts for that little bit longer than it normally would, because I haven't seen my big sister in over a year. So instead of allowing myself to get wrapped up in feeling guilty and feeling pulled in multiple different directions, this year I sort of just had a little bit of the fuck it attitude. But I think I just was like, so we're in Australia for like the whole month of February. So I'm like, so I'm allowed to say fuck it. Fuck it for February. Fuck everything else. That, not that it doesn't matter, but that it doesn't need to take precedence. So, my studies kick back up at like the end of this month. So obviously that's going to be important, but everything else can wait. Podcasting can wait. Anything I might post on the socials can wait. And learning to be okay with that when I really care about the work that I do. Even just sort of not stepping back from coaching, but not sort of, or how do I say it? It's basically like scheduling it so I don't necessarily find myself pulled in that direction either, because that's part of the reason why I work for myself, is so I can come and do things like this and not, be feeling like I'm leaving anyone in the lurch. And so I think sometimes allowing yourself that grace and that grace and compassion, but just like, I don't know, like, what word do I want to say? Permission, like giving yourself a permission structure to kind of just focus on things that are important to you. I think that's where I sort of wanted this episode to be about. February is the shortest month of the year. It's only 28 days. I'm recording this on day 3. And you should probably be listening to it on day 3 if I get my ass into gear, because where I'm at least 12, if not 16 hours ahead of America right now. But allowing ourselves permission to kind of just focus on something that's really important in our world. It can be really challenging to do. But sometimes we have to let ourselves. We have to let ourselves like block out the noise and just focus on something that is really important to us, and nothing else. And so that's kind of like my Mindfulness Monday tip for this week. That think about something in your life that is really meaningful, or has, maybe been on the back burner and you're trying to find time for it. It could be a relationship. It could be, wanting to kind of focus in on your marriage to, not to the detriment of anything else, but really focusing on things. It could be, being more present with your kids and making it so you're spending time with your kids, your phone is in another room so you're not tempted to be distracted from, the other joy that our kiddos can bring us sometimes. So I think my point is maybe you don't know that you're seeking it, but have a think about granting yourself the permission to just focus on something for the next, 25 days, on something that is really important to you. And just that, life still goes on. It doesn't mean, you don't necessarily have to turn up to work or do any of the other things, but maybe just give a little bit of attention, or not share your attention so much between, not things that don't matter, but sometimes things don't matter. Sometimes things don't matter as much as we think that they do. And so being able to take a step back from them, and even just, I don't know, maybe take the next 25 days or the month of February to reevaluate what's actually important in your life. Because it's really easy to get caught up in fucking nonsense. And we know that it is. There's work politics, there's American politics, there's global politics, there's, I guess, politics in regards to friendships and friendship circles, and even, dynamics within our relationships, friendships, marriages, all of the things. So my choice is to actively step back from kind of anything that doesn't really involve my friends and family right now. And it's not to say I'm disappearing completely, but it's just, I've taken a minute and gone, this is what's meaningful to me right now. This is what I need to feed my soul and fulfill my heart, is spending time with the people that I love in my homeland that I only get to come to once a year for like 6 weeks. And it's filled with, such sweet reunions. It's filled with, some, I guess maybe some heartbreaking revelations of things that sometimes some of our friends have been going through while we haven't been here. Yeah. So living away from the majority of the people that you really love and care about, it's hard. It can be really challenging at times, and not always feeling like you're here for the people that you love when they need you the most is really hard too sometimes. Sorry. But so that's part of the reason. Part of the reason is just, I got to focus on my people here, because that is what feels right to me. That's what feels authentic to who I am and who I need to be right now. And additionally, I'm here for the first couple of weeks alone with my kids, and then my husband will arrive, and we won't have seen him for almost 3 weeks, and that means my boys won't have seen him for for almost 3 weeks. And for little kids, that's hard. So we sort of take stock, and we spend family time together and explore some of the beautiful parts of my country that we absolutely adore, and that's what we do. So I'm personally going to refer to it as fuck it February, in terms of fuck everything else and focus in on the stuff that is really important to you right now. And even if you're like, I don't have time for it, we've all got 28 days. We've all got 28 days where if we didn't jump on the socials, or we, made that commitment to, I don't know, read a book, or, maybe be a little bit less on our phones, or engage in maybe something that you've always wanted to try. Like, we've all got 28 days where we could do that. So maybe this is just an idea or an option or an opportunity that you can, maybe join me in it and focus on something that's important to you. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to jump on and talk about. I will try to maybe do another update while I'm here in Oz, because I do love this podcast and I love, coaching. I love the radio station, the Thin Line Rock station, and my bosses there have been really kind and just let me step away while I'm here in Oz, which was incredibly awesome. And just in true Australian freaking nature, there's a spider on the table that I'm just going to take care of, and we're going to soldier on. It's little, but gross. Golf night. There's a reason. Sometimes I'm not living here, and spiders is one of them. Fucking hell. But yes, I was being incredibly grateful to my bosses at Thin Line Rock Station for letting me, enjoy my time at home without, feeling the pressure to be trying to manage too many things at one time. So I'm very grateful for them. And I do believe, might be a little sneaky rumor, that I feel like some other hosts, maybe Josh Grantinetti, maybe stepping into fill the void that I have left there for a few weeks. So please keep listening to the time that I'm normally on, and you may catch someone else on there. So yeah, that'll be fun. And what else? Yeah, I will try to jump on periodically. I'm still posting stuff on the socials, but just not as active as perhaps I am sometimes. But I think anyone in this first responder, mental health, wellness, all of that sort of realm, I think they understand. It's really important for us to be able to step back at times, and for different reasons. But this is my reason, because February is focusing on my family, and it doesn't really get much more important than that, does it? So that's where I'm at. I have some other thoughts bouncing around my head, but I do like to try to keep these Mindfulness Mondays short, even though I typically fail in my endeavors for that. I'm actually going to steal something from Kenny Mitchell, lovely Kenny Mitchell from Operation Yellow Tape. He sometimes does. Hear that bloody crow in the background? Oi, mate, rack off. He does like some recommendations at the end of his podcast. So I'm not stealing it completely, Kenny. I'm being inspired by it. So don't hate me. Currently reading this, Sober from Sin, which is by Jeff Fields, who was a previous guest. And I've been very slow going, but I'm also have my grey letter and I'm underlining things as I go. Lovely read. Check it out. And the other book that I have brought with me from the States, which obviously when I finish reading Jeff's book, is Operator Syndrome by the lovely Dr. Chris Freit, who I most recently listened to his podcast episode on Doug White's podcast, Tell This Story, which was a great conversation if you haven't checked it out. And both Doug and one of my other favourite men in this realm, Travis Gribble, have both highly recommended this book. So this is next on my list. So those are two book recommendations, simply because I'm reading them and I like to share good stuff with you guys. And additionally, I know that this past weekend, Josh Grantinetti on Foundation Fortified, they launched their subscriber content. So there are free courses, which is mindfulness meditations for first responders and their spouses, and really anyone interested. It's not just purely for the first responder community. But so there's some lovely content on there, which you can just sign up and access. But he has done so much hard work on the subscriber side, and it's really powerful and really beautiful work, and really lovely guided meditations on multiple different sort of, I guess, I don't know what you call it, like meditation domains. There's some love and kindness ones, there's some on trauma, there's a few that help you sleep, there's just some brilliant stuff on there. So if you are looking, even in February, as like I was saying, the fuck it February, and trying to maybe try to be more proactive in your mental health. Jump on Foundation Fortified. I'll pop their stuff in the show notes, and go check out their content, because it's truly wonderful. And I do know across this weekend they've been having a early bird sale. So I will I'll speak to JJ and see how long that early bird special is going for. But definitely something worth checking out, because it's a wonderful resource. And you know, I'm not necessarily someone who I would have ever thought would be interested necessarily in mindfulness meditations, because I feel like my brain struggles to calm down and be quiet, and it actually kind of means that's probably what I need a little more than anything else. But I can attest that I have done a lot of the meditations and the content on there, and I find them incredibly helpful. And there's one that one of the sleep ones that I have personally listened to, I mean, I want to say at least 10 times, and I've never actually heard the end of it, because I'm asleep before the end of the 10 minutes. So not for nothing, it works. So please go check out Josh Grantinetti's Foundation Fortified. He works really, really hard at it, and he is very talented in what he does in terms of his mindfulness meditations, and like the guided stuff that he does. So do yourself a favor. If you're an Aussie, you will get that. Do yourself a favor and go check it out. All right, I have made this go on for long enough as it is. I am aiming to, I have 2 guests that I have already recorded their episodes, and am hoping to get their episodes out in the next couple of weeks. So one I am aiming for this Friday. So keep your eyes, ears, whatever you keep tuned to when your podcasts come out, go check them out. You can see that crow in the background. There's 3 of them. Pricks. Yes, but thank you for your grace and your patience and understanding that I have been a little quiet. It's not the fact that I don't know that I have. It's an active choice. So I appreciate maybe, you know, readjusting of some expectations of, you know, perhaps the frequency with which I put these episodes out. But please know there is no deviation in my love and my commitment and passion for these conversations. And there is something I do want to share about that, but I'm gonna save it for when I think I've figured it out in my head a little more before I speak on it. But yeah, I love this. I love the community that, you know, we are a part of in the world of first responder mental health and wellness. You know, this is my world. This is where I still exist. I don't do the job anymore, but I, you know, every day love and support someone who is still in the job. So trying everything that I know how to keep the man that I love and the world's greatest father to my children safe and healthy and all of the things is what's important. So, you know, I even just put an order through with the lovely Tara at Flame Decon to get some of their soap and shampoo and decontamination products through for my husband and his crew to try out. So there are many different aspects of things that, you know, encompass this world. It's not just our mental health, it's our physiological health, it's so many things. But I'm in this for the long haul. You know, I'm, like I mentioned, oh God, I am waffling on, I'm sorry. But like I mentioned partway through this conversation, or, you know, stream of consciousness, whatever you want to call it. My studies start back up. My psychology and counselling studies start back up towards the end of this month. This is going to be years that I'm going to be studying to, hopefully be able to be in a position where I can help treat trauma in first responders. So this isn't something that I take for granted. I don't take for granted the trust that people place in me when they talk to me, whether it's in the capacity as a coach, whether it is in the capacity as a guest on my podcast, whether it's a friend or a loved one, or even a complete stranger who reaches out on, on my email, on the socials, on any of the things, and sort of just needs someone to talk to, needs someone to reach out to, needs maybe a little bit of advice of, I don't know where to turn. This is where I'm at. Can you help me? This is what I care about. So just because I might step away for a few weeks to focus on my family doesn't diminish anything in terms of how much I care and how passionately I feel about the first responder population and all of the amazing people who are also working towards the same goal of keeping our people happy and healthy and safe and lowering suicide rates, because that's where it's at. It's what we're all focused on. Okay, so thank you for your time. If you've listened to me waffle on for God knows how long, and I will hopefully update you soon. I'm going to be posting photos on the socials throughout my trip, so if you're interested, I hope you'll keep up with them. All right, guys, as always, stay safe out there and let me listen in a way you've never been heard. This has been another episode of Mindfulness Mondays as a part of the I Will Hold Space for Your Darkness podcast series. Cheers from Australia, guys.